is the show that has hosted everyone from Sugar Ray Leonard to Keith One-Time Thurman. This is Tough Talk Tonight, brought to you by Heavy Bag Boxing.
Welcome to Tough Talk Tuesday. As always, I'm your host, Lucas Biggers. Alongside me is Robert Alexander and Sakura A. How's it going, guys?
What's up?
Hanging in here.
All right. Let's talk a little bit first and kind of recap this past weekend's fights. Guys, Tszyu, say his motherfucking name.
That was like the corniest line of the month for me. It's like, I can say your name now, but that don't mean I must be saying your name when you fight Jamel, okay?
I definitely agree that it was corny, but you gotta admit that at least it's stuck with people. I think that's all he needed. That's all he wanted.
What is he, Eminem? Was he Eminem now? Come on now. Say my name because you beat Tony Harrison. I'm sorry, I'm not impressed. I don't care if you guys are, which I imagine you all are like everybody else. I'm not impressed yet.
Well, Tony Harrison it's not that he beat Tony Harrison. I think it's how he beat Tony Harrison, because he whipped the shit out of Tony Harrison. That wasn't just a win. Like that was a pretty good demolishing. At no point I think I saw Tszyu worried at all. He was in control of the whole fight.
Now, Harrison lost the fight because he did exactly what Tszyu wanted him to do. He walked backwards into the corner, into the ropes, which the ring was tailor-made for that. Okay, they shortened the
size of a kid's like sandbox.
It was definitely
shortened
a small ring. I mean, it favored Tim for sure.
They shortened the ring on him. Okay, and all he did was move backwards into a trap for Tszyu to be able to allow pressure. You're not going to be able to do that to Charlo, man. You're not going to be able to do that to Charlo at all. And I thought, honestly, Harrison, had he followed the game plan that his brother was trying to instruct him to do in the corner, he could have had more success. Now, he would have lost the fight eventually, but he would have had more success if he would have listened to the corner.
But the end result, you said, is still the same, yes?
Right. That is true. I was kind of disappointed in Harrison's performance, but what can you do with a pure boxer that's in a sandbox? You know what I'm saying? There's no room to move and jab and look pretty and slip punches. Like, you're not doing none of that in that atmosphere. And then Harrison was also doing something that didn't make sense to me, which was he had his left hand down when Tszyu is throwing right bombs. Like, that also wasn't like the smartest move. Yeah, at first you can do it because you're just throwing the boxer off from what he's used to seeing. But then at a certain time, you have to change that tactic once once that boxer adjusts to that. And I really wasn't that impressed with Tszyu yet because, we have to also realize Harrison had been out for quite a while, guys. That was a stale Harrison. That was not like a fresh, revived, and thriving Harrison. Now, there is, as Steve Farhood and a bunch of other commentators were saying, there is a old 32-year-old person, boxer. It's not necessarily the case. I don't know for sure, but it definitely looked like Harrison wasn't the Harrison of the past that we've seen. And Charlo quickly pointed out, hey, he might not be the same since, my knockout, since I knocked him out. Like, that also is a thing that happens to boxers. So
for sure.
I'm not sure if that win was necessarily he looked so good because he is that good. It looked like to me he looked that good because Harrison didn't look as good or as sharp as he normally does. Plus, everything was set up for him not to be able to do what he does the best, which is have room to move around the ring and jab and slip punches and set up punches a little bit better than he could from all the ropes. I know he had 1,000 burns on it, rope burns on his back, Lucas. That thing was so damn small. Like, I don't know who negotiated the contract, but damn, they should have looked into this ring size a little bit more. Maybe if Billy Joe Saunders had been, a part of that, part of his team, they might have would have caught that. But yeah, there was definitely some little shenanigans being played there with that.
That's what I was thinking. Charlo stepped out with the injury, and I commend Tony Harrison for coming in and filling in. I mean, that was awesome. But you got to be a little bit more careful. You already went to Australia. You gave up that. Now you got to give up this small ring. And you played right into his hands. So it was set up for Tszyu the whole time. But at the same time, it was like, why wasn't he holding? You don't hear me say that very much, and I don't recommend that to most fighters. There's almost too much holding. But like, no point was like Harrison clinching. I'm like, dude, you are clearly hurt. Everybody knows it. Yeah. And he's not grabbing. He's not holding.
Yeah.
Well, there's other issues.
He's like a fighter that's kind of burned out a little.
That's what he looked like, because there are other issues, not just the holding. I mean, what are you trying to do when you do get backed up into the ropes? You turn your opponent. You turn, and then you fire on him. And all Harrison was doing was trying to use the jab to back him off until there was no room. And when there was no room, he was taking fire undercover. And then the other issue I thought as well, we got to give credit where credit is due. Tszyu does have power. Now he did show that. He showed patience in there. But he didn't go to the body like I thought he would. I think if he would have went to Harrison's body more when he had him trapped on those ropes, he would have even looked even more impressive and got an earlier stoppage. But I felt like Charlo was exactly right. Tszyu did what he was supposed to do. Not overly impressive, but he did what he's supposed to do, and it does make that Charlo fight way more better at this point.
I think he won, but I'm not even sure if I would agree with did what he was supposed to do. I think this was supposed to be a highlight career knockout. This was supposed to be you have to come see me now. I think he still did enough that, he's on Charlo's radar, but I mean, he was there commentating, so that it kind of helped fuel the fire a little bit. But let's be honest, he should have knocked him out. He should have got him out of there a little bit more impressive than even what he did. What was the last thing? Like 5 missed uppercuts, 5 consecutive uppercuts, and some of them missed.
Oh my god!
Man, he was stationary. I mean, he's stationary against the ropes, and you're missing some of those. Come on.
I'm happy he did miss some of those, to be honest with you, because I felt like that ref definitely
he should have jumped in there, yeah.
After that fight, because he allowed that to go on a little bit too long. First of all, I didn't like the body language with Harrison. Anytime he got hit with something good, you know what I'm saying? Like, his head was snapping back way too much. The way that I was surprised that the judges card had him, in the fight, because every time he got hit, it was just such a not so good reaction from him physically. That I'm wondering, for Harrison's sake, he might need to really reconsider and think about the next stage in his career, which he's doing such a great job with Alicia Baumgartner being on her team as a trainer. And I always see him on line doing different things, training with the younger set of kids and things like that. Now, like I said, it could be that he just had too much ring rust to try to overcome all the barriers he had in that particular fight. But I do feel like some reflection is necessary.
Definitely. Now, I wanted to speak a little bit more. You said that, Rob, that you said Tszyu looked good and he did what he's supposed to do, but you don't think he can do this to Charlo. You expect Charlo to win? Is that what you're saying?
No, no, but he's not gonna back Charlo up like this. And even in the fight, Harrison stopped backing up and tried to fight him in a phone booth. You know, like what was he doing there? Charlo's not gonna do that. Charlo's gonna box him when he needs to, and he's gonna be the aggressor when he needs to be. So, but Tszyu does have a chance because he did show a lot of patience, which you have to have with Charlo. You can't try to outgun him. You're setting yourself up for disaster. He can compete. He does have a shot at competing with Charlo if he can hurt him and stay on top of him. But like you said, that stoppage where he didn't get the clean knockout like he should have, and the not going to the body like that shows a lack of issue. It shows the issue to me as well. He's going to need that whole arsenal and then some to combat Charlo. But he does have a chance, though. He didn't look too unimpressive to me. Where you're sitting here saying, "Oh, he can't even compete." He can compete. It's just he's not going to be the same fight he had on Saturday.
Well, that's clear. I mean, I don't think he really had to go to the body. I mean, I hear what you're saying, and I completely agree, but I don't think he was even trying. There wasn't a thought. He was trying to get Harrison out of there in spectacular fashion. So I think he was aiming for a knockout from the jump. Now, I will say I agree with you, too, though. He is being patient, and he did not rush it because he did have Harrison hurt before and did not rush him. I think if he actually rushed him, though, he might have been able to get him out of there, but he played it smart.
I mean, Harrison isn't really known for his power, so I don't know why he would be afraid to go for it the first time. But for me, the big thing is just the nature of his attack. It just seems like it's kind of like that one type of I don't want to say one trick pony, but it's like one type of boxing that he knows how to do, and that's to come straight forward. You cannot, and I mean cannot, stand in front of Charlo and come straight forward at him because you're playing right into his type of hand. And also when Rob was bringing up the fact that Charlo won't be on the ropes, well, guess what? We learned in that Castano fight that, yeah, he can be on the ropes and still hurt you. Like, it's still like Charlo is not the person that you could just be right in front of like that. And I haven't seen Tszyu be able to show us that he can do angles or, know how to set up a punch without it being so like automated where I can see this punch coming. These are things that you would definitely have to be more complex of a boxer and be able to get away with Charlo. I don't feel like that's that type of dog that you want to be in a fight against him because he does have power and he has late round power. He's proven that he still continues to have his power throughout the fight. So I don't think that the performance we saw from Tszyu is going to really been something that impressed many, true boxing fans, to be honest. And the other thing is he didn't do himself, his team didn't do him any favors by allowing that ring to be smaller. Like if you were trying to have a fight and prepare yourself for a fight against someone like Charlo, you needed to allow a boxer to be a boxer so you could at least prepare for a fight like that with Charlo, because the thing of it is that you don't really know which Charlo is going to come out and fight you. There's many different styles he can go with. I'm hoping that Tim does prepare and try to learn some different techniques in his boxing style before this fight comes up, because if it's an indicator on what we saw, it's not there. It's not going to be competitive at all to me, guys.
To answer your question, though, and this has always plagued this particular Charlo brother, and I think him commentating the fight and
he really wasn't. He was just looking and he was seeing different ways that he was going to do stuff different. Like he
well, my point is it helped because this particular Charlo brother isn't great. He isn't great because he had a draw with Costanzo the first time. He shouldn't. He lost to Harrison the first time. He shouldn't. He has a lack of motivation sometimes in there. And when he lacks that motivation, he comes out on top better the second time around because, okay, he knows what he's dealing with. So Tszyu is definitely in this fight with this particular Charlo brother. And I think if they didn't put him in a predicament where he was able to be on camera, having to watch this type of fight to amp himself up, he'd be in trouble if he fought Tszyu that night. He would have been in trouble because this particular Charlo brother, he's not great. Period. He lost. He lost.
Oh my God! Like you're trying to tell me that the Charlo that lost to Harrison is the same Charlo that you saw in the second Castano with the rematch?
No, it was the same. It was the same Charlo that I saw in the first Castano fight. It was the same one that I saw in the first Castano fight. If he would have fought Tszyu last year when he was supposed to, he would have been unmotivated. He would have been unmotivated, and he would have lost that fight because this dude was ready.
What you're saying right now, because it's like you're diminishing how good Brian Castano really is as a boxer.
Is he? We don't know.
He had shown previously he was definitely the underdog in several fights leading up to that Charlo 1 fight. So he had already proven people that he was more of a better boxer than people thought he was. Then when we got him into the Charlo fight, we realized like, wait a minute now. Okay, so this guy is still proving people wrong that he is an elite boxer. So when you say that Charlo is still this particular Charlo isn't, the Charlo Jamal, you're right. He doesn't have as good of a killer instinct. Like his killer instinct is not as tough as the older brother by a couple of minutes. I think 2 minutes, but it is really pretty good. It's better than what it is. He needed that loss from Harrison to show him what a loss really feels like so that he could be more present in fights. But since that moment, we have been seeing a different Jamel Charlo. That is not the same boxer at all. Brian Castano was an equally matched boxer, but fatigue started getting the best of him because Charlo was going to the body early in that fight. And he wasn't able to stay away from Charlo's hooks on the end. I think it was like the 9th or the 10th round that he was able to get him out. So that just didn't have anything to do with Charlo not being a good fighter now. He is.
So
it point blank have to do with Castano. I got to back Castano. I think he is a lot better than what people give him credit for.
Well, then we need to see that then. You just had a loss, brother. I need to see it. I need to see it.
He got a draw with Charlo, which he was a huge underdog.
And he ain't done nothing since. He has done nothing since.
Yeah,
he hadn't even fought since.
Now you're also negating the fact that in the second fight with Harrison, Charlo was close. It was close before the knockout. So
it was.
So he could have had a second loss to Harrison, but he got the knockout. So I commend him for that.
Yeah, here's the thing. When you think of Brian Castano and a Tszyu on the same level?
Yes. And here's why. Here's why.
No.
And here's why. Period. No. Point blank, period.
Yeah, let's hear
when
this.
When he beat Castano the second time, they went toe-to-toe. He out-toed him. Okay? He out-fought Castano. If he does that same fight with Tszyu, he's going to get his ass hurt. Now, y'all heard it here first. If he tries to go toe to toe with Tim Tszyu, Charlo is in trouble.
Lucas, I'm gonna let you handle this one.
Look, I'm not even necessarily disagreeing with Rob. I mean, I do think that if you go toe to toe, I think that's bad idea. I don't think that's gonna happen though. I think he planned and he strategized. Looking at Tim's strategy, no one who would consider themselves a boxer would be like, I'm about to go toe to toe with this man. My only thing is we
you
didn't
would
really
hope.
you don't really get to see a ton of ring generalship, but go ahead.
Sorry. I was saying, do you think Castano is on the and a Tim Tszyu is on the same level? Two opponents of Jamel's now. Do you think that they are on the same level when it comes to boxing skills?
Tszyu and Castano, I mean,
yes, I haven't seen it.
I don't know if they're up to same skills, but Tszyu's definitely a little bit more powerful, I would say, than Castano.
He got more power, but where's the skills?
What do you mean the skills? Look at the power punches that were landed in that fight. He almost landed 50% power punches.
In a ring that was smaller than my niece's sandbox outside.
That's why it's hard to say. But Ralph Gonzalez says, I've been telling y'all about Tim versus Charlo. It'll come down who Chin's going to hold. I definitely agree there. He went on to say Brian versus Fandora, the Fire Inferno should be undercard of Charlo versus Tim if it happens. Okay. That'd be a great fight.
Yeah.
But Rob, I mean, you based in Charlo. This is the part I can't agree with. You're basing Charlo off tough fights with Harrison, with Castano, right? I mean, those are good opponents. I mean, it's not that's kind of the top 2-3. You know what I mean? Like that's up there. That's the upper echelon. Who else do you want to see him struggle with? I mean. It's not like
I want to see this fight with Tim Tszyu, period. And I want to see him win the first time. We don't need to see a second fight. We shouldn't have to see a second fight.
Some people adapt slower, but the fact that he's making his changes and coming back and winning, that still says a lot. You got to give that to Lennox Lewis, too.
I'm not taking it away from him. I'm not taking that away from him.
Loss. And not only did he avenge it, he knocked Castano out. I think that was a good exclamation point.
And I'm not saying that's not a bad trait, but Tim Tszyu hasn't lost. This is the man in front of you right now. This is the man that they say you have to beat to be a man.
Tim Tszyu. Go ahead.
I'm sorry, Lucas. We also have to remember that in his fight with Gosha or Gaucher, he didn't really look that good early on.
He came off the canvas.
Yeah, he actually dropped him, which to me kind of shows that, that chin might not be good enough to be withstanding some Charlo punches. Because, I mean, I'm pretty sure that Gosha has some, he's known for his power, and he's not as big as Jamel Charlo and as powerful as he is. I mean, he's more explosive. Charlo is. So I just don't know about this whole situation with whose chin is better. I mean, I think it's kind of obvious whose chins might be in jeopardy. I'm not gonna say nothing else, but I'm just gonna say that's a fight that a lot of people are gonna be looking forward to. I see.
Yeah. I would have liked to see better how in a big ring would have said a little bit more because can Tim cut off the ring on somebody as good as a boxer and mover as Harrison is, that would have said more about it.
Right.
And we would have been able to better say, if he's going to have a chance against Charlo or not. But it's definitely like speed versus power at this point. I would say Charlo's definitely got well above Tim's speed. And, I would say the same thing about Tim's power over Charlo. So if he could time him and if he cut off the ring, Charlo's in trouble. But if not, I can see Charlo just staying on the outside a lot. I mean, Tim's kind of slow. His punches weren't exactly the quickest. I mean,
you could you telegraph them things.
Yeah.
That's what I was saying about like seeming like automatic with those automated when it came to them punches. Like you saw him coming.
I mean, he practically has to eat some to be able to land the shots that he wants to land, because he's just not fast enough to land them, especially not on a Charlo. Not in a big.
I think I just want to make y'all laugh, but man, I'm going on prediction right now. Tszyu knocks Charlo out and makes him do the Zab Judah like his daddy did.
Oh man.
Dang, would that be the first time that he's hit the canvas? If there was a Charlo knockdown?
I think so.
Because I don't remember him hitting the deck.
He never has, no.
Yeah,
no, but that would be something. If that happens, Lucas, I'm dead. If that happens, makes him do the Zab Judah.
Makes him do the Zab Judah. I mean, I think that's pretty rare knockdown, but
yeah, he got up from that. I mean,
he got up. He didn't know where he was at. He was telling somebody something in midair.
That's what happened when you jump up too fast.
Let's move on here. I want to talk Tank-Garcia for a little bit. Everybody's, kind of bashing Tank right now about this rehydration clause. He's on video basically saying, like, why wouldn't I? He's a bigger dude. Agree, disagree? What we got here?
Yeah, I kind of have to disagree. I mean, based on the fact that he didn't ask for a rehydration clause when it came to Mario Barrios, and Barrios was pretty tall and filled in well for their fight. But I can also say Tank did go up to the 140 for that particular fight. This time, he's not trying to go to 140, but he don't want to go to 135. So it's kind of like an in-between matchup. I mean, yeah, you don't want, I really personally feel that should be something that a lot of boxing commissions just go ahead and put in place for these divisions anyway, just for safety purposes. Just because you can make weight and then you balloon up the next night and you're nowhere close to what division you call yourself fighting in, that to me needs to stop. But I don't see anything wrong with it. If he's not going to be at 140, then yeah, I mean, 10 pounds over, I mean, that still would make Ryan, 140, almost a welterweight if he was to gain more than 10 pounds. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't think that would be fair either. Like, so, yeah, I'm all right with him doing that, but don't act like it's because he's bigger than you, because you know damn well you just fought somebody that was bigger than you when you fought Barrios at 140.
I just don't get it. Why don't you just fight for like the IBF title, right? Have it at 135, actually make it more meaningful of a fight, have that 10-pound rehydration clause anyway. Why do it this way? I mean, it sounds like Ryan Garcia, right? He already came down. He already confessed to that.
He couldn't get to 135. He said he hadn't been at one. Ryan Garcia was saying he hadn't been at 135 for over 2 years. So
I get that, but it's a pound. It's a pound. That's an excuse. Okay, I can understand if it was like 138 or something like that, but that's not.
I thought it was at first, because so I was kind of puzzled when they said 136. I'm like, surely he can lose one more pound. That title.
That says to me that it ain't about that. It's about the titles, right? So if he loses, he doesn't lose the belts. That's what I hear. Rob, I'm interested in your take here. The rehydration clause to me, I say is just an excuse. You fought at 140, right? So, and I don't see you or hearing about any rehydration clauses asked from anybody else. He fought at 140. What's the problem here? We're fighting at 136 already. If he's draining down, let him go up. Now, I agree rehydration clauses, but yeah, I mean, he shouldn't be able to balloon up to like 150 or something. But what's your take, Rob? What's your take?
You already know I'm for it. No, no, for real though. I see why Tank would do it. It's the Mayweather effect. You want to pull every advantage that you can. So I can see why he could do it. However, I also was a huge fan of when Mayweather said, "I'll fight anywhere between 130 to 154." and he did it in his career. So I don't think the rehydration clause is necessary. I think as a fighter the caliber of Tank, you have to believe you can beat any of these guys between the any of these divisions on up to 140. And uh, really, the biggest advantage to me for Ryan Garcia in the whole industry is his fast hands. He has really, really fast hands. And the more he balloons up, the more speed you can take away, the better.
Right. So let him gain the weight back by keeping him small. I mean, I seen a post from Steve Kim saying, we need to just go back to the same day rehydration clause. And I'm with that. Same day weigh in, right? That's going to stop people from dying, stop people from passing out from fucking rehydration, from dehydration anyway. I agree with that, right? But if somebody already fought at 140, that's the same shit that Mayweather pulled, right? And yeah, he fought Cotto at 154, but then for Canelo, he wanted to cut him down, right? He always said, "I'll fight you at your weight," but it's not always that way with every single opponent. You know what I mean? And Tank's learning that. That's what Tank's doing, right? Because he ain't asked that for anybody else. It's only Ryan Garcia. He's acting like he's fighting a middleweight, right? Like he's coming down so far that this man's gonna balloon up and be some light heavyweight or something. I don't see it.
I don't know. I wonder what weight Ryan Garcia was in his last fight. When I forgot who that was. He even fought, guys. I don't know if you guys know, but I'm just wondering does he have some kind of evidence that he did balloon up after weigh in at the previous fight? Like, that's what I'm getting at. Like, I'm just asking that question. Yeah. But either way it goes, when you're the A side, you can ask for a lot of things. And sometimes you just be asking for shit because you know that it's gonna mess with people's head. It's gonna it's gonna bother them, and it's gonna get in his head. And sure enough, it was something that was on Ryan's mind during the presser last week. He literally said, "Oh, and we all know that he drained me, and he's trying to keep me. I can't rehydrate." And it's like, yeah, dude, you can rehydrate. 10 pounds is pretty good hot rehydration to me. I mean,
if you're Ryan Garcia.
But you got to be careful. That's the problem is he can't just do what he usually does and prepare for a fight normally. Now, see, to me, that already is taken advantage of.
I mean, you can't prepare normally. It's just because you still got to weigh in at 136. It's just you can't be eating yourself into a coma.
Right, you can't, yeah. And I think that's what a lot of guys do.
Yeah, but they shouldn't be doing it because it does sometimes affect them in the ring. So it's like, Tank is really doing him a favor because he could be like shit. And he got to eat everything he wanted to eat after the weigh-in all day the next day. This way you actually are going to be in top tip shape, and you ain't got to worry about, using the bathroom and all this kind of stuff going on.
Yeah, you're gonna be in shape. Yeah. And not only that, listen, I want Ryan Garcia to come hungry. Period. I want him to be hungry. Okay? That's what you want. You want to see him hungry. You want him to be mad because of the rehydration clause. You want him to be hungry and mad or all of that. Because then you're going to, like Shakur said, you're going to get the best out of your guy, and he's healthy.
But doesn't that show a little bit of chink in his armor that he's worried about this rehydration clause? Why are you worried about it? That's my question to Tank. Why are you worried about it?
Oh, you mean Tank? Man, it's the Mayweather effect, period. And that's all it is. Okay, you so confident you gonna beat me. I got all these other outside issues going on. It's a shortened camp for me, very short camp for me. Yeah, I'm gonna make you suffer to whatever I want, whatever I can take advantage of.
It's an advantage. I really think he's trying to get into his head, and he's trying to make it where you need to be still watching your food intake afterwards, and that's just another way to kind of mess with him a little bit. Because I said, he done already had fights with big 140 pounders before, and this was an ass that we know of.
Do we know the fine if he goes over?
Ooh, no, I didn't hear about the fine. Like, I don't know what the fine would be.
I'm not sure either. I mean, there's a chance Ryan just says fuck it and balloons back up. What are you gonna do? Cancel? I'll call your fucking bluff. You know what I mean? Yeah. You could take a couple grand.
That looks bad on Ryan though.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, you look at Danny Jacobs, right? Yeah. I mean, at first I was like, you dirty bastard. But at the second time, I'm like, man, he needed every advantage he could get. And he took what he could. I'm fighting Golovkin. Shit, I'd be weighing as much as I could too. You know what I mean? So I can't blame him fully. But it's the same thing for me. I agree with you guys. I mean, he's just trying to get into his head. But for me, it also takes down the meaning of the fight. You know what I mean? If you start draining people, if you start adding these stipulations, you start making them less than themselves, then are you really winning? That's the problem, is it's automatically built an excuse that we will have for Ryan Garcia going forward. If this was just at a specific weight with no restrictions, no nothing, he just lost that extra pound, and they just went about this as normal, we wouldn't be talking about this, right? This would be a straight-up fight. This would be a straight-up fight. Why you disagree?
I disagree because let's be honest, these fighters don't go about the weight the way that they're supposed to. And you have nutritionists out there who will tell you that they're blatantly ignored, or these fighters don't follow the proper regimen that they give them because of the disciplinary issues in the sport. If you lose the weight, you have a nutritionist, you lose it the right way, it should make you healthier. It really should, because you're doing everything the right way. Like Shakur and I just talked about, it's not healthy for you to go out here and balloon up 10, 20 pounds, 30 pounds in some cases the next day. That's not healthy.
Do you watch boxing? Because, I mean, that's what Canelo's made his career out of doing that, man. Like,
and look at where it got him now.
People talk shit about him.
I'm just look at where it got him now. No, but look at where it got him now.
I gotta bring back
step up
Ralphie's comment here. Didn't Mayweather weigh more than Marquez by 18 pounds? It was up there. And Marquez was all water weight. And I commend Marquez because he didn't make no excuses afterwards, right? He just said, I lost to the better man. But, I mean, let's face it, the Marquez that Mayweather fought was so much more less than, right? And this is what we're going to be saying, again, possibly, about the fight with Ryan Garcia versus Gervonta Davis. I think it makes the fight less than it should be. Not to mention you don't have any titles on the line. I automatically care a lot less when you start putting stipulations on there. I care less. I'm not saying I don't care at all. I'm simply saying the meaning of this fight for me has dwindled quite a bit because you're adding all this stipulation and all these other things that could be playing a big part into the fight. It's no different, guys, than what you were saying about Tszyu and that small fucking ring.
Well, you know how I feel about that because they took away a big one of Harrison's major skill sets when they made everything that small. But I feel like with this particular situation, you know, Tank is at 135. Ryan had been at 135 when they first started talking about having this fight 2 or 3 years ago. He was at 135. So it's like now you want everybody to go up to 140 because you're saying you can't make the weight. But when you make 136, won't Tank be able to say, hey, I thought you couldn't come down this way no more?
That's the other thing I don't.
Well,
I'm like, lose that extra pound, you know?
Yeah. But still, you said you couldn't get close to that now. You only wanted to fight at 140, but I see you made it to 136. So it is a situation where either way, your Tank is in his head about this rehydration clause, or he's going to prove Tank right, which is that his ass can get down to the 135 zone. So,
well, the problem is if he said he can't make it, right? He's already in his head by trying to get him down to 136, right? He's like, I'm probably not going above that. So he's like, fine, I'll agree to that. And then at the end, he's like, oh yeah, by the way, you can't rehydrate either. And he was like, oh, this is bullshit, but too much, what are you gonna do?
Yeah.
Rob, anything else on that for our change topics?
No, I was just gonna say and give Harrison credit. He never once mentioned anything about that small ring being an excuse. He said the better man won too, and I think that's how it should be in this case, Lucas. There should be no excuse.
It speaks highly of him, and he congratulated Tim. So again, I do commend Harrison. I mean, that was top notch shit.
You know what I was gonna say? I almost forgot, but y'all just reminded me about this whole Australia fan base. Wow. I mean, amazing. Man. Totally amazing. And if I was Charlo, I would reconsider fighting over there. Because he could have all those fans. All those Australian fans are just there waiting to be plucked and courted. And he courted is such an old.
I agree. That's nice.
Well, the only I love it.
I like it.
I love it, Shakur. The only issue is they only got about 2 fighters over there. They only got about 2 good ones. They only got about 2 good ones.
He only needs Tszyu right now. And the rest of the time, they can be watching him and paying for his pay-per-views, right? Over here, you're gaining a fan base that is untapped fan base. And they got disposable income, or they wouldn't have been in that daggone arena. I feel like that's a whole missed market by boxing in general a lot of times.
I agree.
No sense. Like, there should definitely be more fights over there.
Yeah, I agree. I'd love to see that. I would love to see him just say, he said at the end he was coming to America. He'd be like, you don't need to come to America. I'm going to come to you and still whip your ass. And if he said that and was able to pull it off, I mean, I think Charlo's stock would be going through the roof.
If he really feel like he going to knock him out like he say he is, you can go overseas and fight, your opponent, because you're not going to leave it to the judges to be able to give any type of partial treatment. So, like, to me, I mean, I would have reconsidered that, and he'll make more money fighting over in Australia. We're not going to get a packed house for like that over here for that fight.
Nope. I mean, he might as well just go ahead and fight him in Australia. You're definitely right. I mean, the money's there and everything else. I mean, it's like you said, it's an untapped market. I think he should definitely consider that. All right, let's talk a little bit now about Ryder. Has he earned a shot at Canelo? Will it even be competitive, guys? Of course, there's a lot of people having their doubts. Rob, let's come to you first on this one.
Y'all are going to be mad at me because I'm not passionate about this subject like Shakur is. So I don't have a lot to say other than the fact that no, I don't like this fight at all. I can't stand this fight. I don't know why anybody should want to see it other than the fans maybe over in the UK. They would like to see a Canelo fight over there live. But even in the UK, you're banking on this man's reputation over there. And I don't think he's the best UK fighter over there anyway for Canelo to fight either. It's another move for Canelo to get a win, to fight, these guys at this particular weight class that he knows he can beat. He's not attractive. He's not anything to watch at all, in my opinion, coming off of a horrendous fight with Triple G and a loss. So, yeah, I guess if we were to sit here and say he has a confidence problem right now, he may need to get his confidence back. It makes sense. Give us this fight. Give it to us on Fox TV, live and for free, where everybody can see it. Don't come out here and make this big production in the UK, where we got to go to DAZN, which to me is the lowest app out there.
One of them.
So, yeah, and I said I wasn't that passionate about it. It sounds like I am now. Because
a little bit.
The location is wrong. Like the whole thing is that Canelo's want to go home to Mexico for his fight. And
Well, then they should. But then let me rephrase that. They should have did it in the UK. It makes more sense to do it in the UK than fucking Mexico.
I think it's Ryder for a reason. This is his homecoming. It's to make him look good, right? It's put on a good show for the Mexican fans. I think that's what this is.
Well, once again, though, I don't like it, Lucas, especially that it's in Mexico now, because that's the only thing you're gonna do. What are they gonna make it a national holiday and everybody's off of work and shit to go see this fight? Even if you did it that.
It's an insult to your fans. You're bringing them John Ryder, right? Okay,
right.
You finally come back to Mexico, and you bringing me John Ryder? You couldn't bring back Gilberto.
Why couldn't that last Triple G fight be there?
Jacobs? You're bringing back motherfucking John Ryder. Like, that's who you're bringing back to us. That's an insult to his own damn fans. Like, I don't understand. Got so much money, so much pull, and you pull John Ryder. That's who you pull. I don't understand the fight. I really don't.
Like, I wasn't prepared. I wasn't looking for that damn comment, but boy, I mean, that summed it up right there, didn't it? Like, if I want to come home, I want to put on a highly competitive fight and have it like the biggest fight. Like they want the
something
same
you can lose, right? Something
here that we get over here in Las Vegas for his fights. They wanted that to be what they see over there in their country. And guys, the reason I'm passionate about this, I mean, I researched this, Rob, like, first of all, yes, my black girl snapped. Why the hell is Ryder like number 2 ranked for the for box rec? And then let me just go down the list of I'm gonna just do the top 5. They got Canelo as number 1, check. John Ryder number 2, 3 is Demetrius Andrade, 4 Benavidez, 5 Caleb Plant. Anybody see anything wrong with the order of this? Okay, that was the first thing I saw. Now, second thing I saw is when I went to his actual record, I was also like, wait a minute, this guy done fought a lot of people that Canelo already done beat.
Yep.
Like, I mean, basically, the Canelo's opponents have already whipped this guy's ass. I mean, something that's not on the box rec is that his last fight, right, that was in Florida, his ass barely won that fight.
I was just gonna say that shit.
That fight, guys.
Yes. And it was a boring fight. Canelo, if you're listening, we do not need no more boring damn fights in boxing. Okay? When you fought Bivol, it wasn't great. When you fought Triple G, it was horrendous. Okay? And hopefully you knock this guy's ass out in 30 seconds. Otherwise, I'm gonna be mad.
This is not a pay-per-view level fight. This is why I say it's an insult to his fans. I mean, this isn't even a co-main event. That's what this is. Okay.
But I will tell you this though, Lucas. That atmosphere in Mexico, that atmosphere around the ring is gonna be electric.
Mexico will show up, but like Ralphie says, Canelo will not surpass Julio Cesar Chavez in fan base when he fought over there against Greg Hagan. Do you agree with that?
Yes,
I don't know.
I agree. 100%. I'll agree because that opponent, Hagan, he was actually, a really higher ranked talent-wise boxer than what we got right now. And I don't see how that could be topped. And you're talking about Julio Chavez Senior. I don't know. I just feel like this whole situation is a bunch of poop, and that we should not be like really like condoning this. Now, I'm giving Canelo a pass. I repeat, disclaimer, I'm giving Canelo a pass because, you know, he wanted like a little soft touch, okay, for his homecoming. A lot of boxers always say that it's very difficult when you go home and you got all this busy shit going on and people asking you for this favor and that favor. And you're trying to just, you know, be there for your full family and all them new cousins you just developed. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's a lot of stuff going on. So I will just give Canelo this particular fight. A lot of people are saying he's coming off an injury. You know, the whole ball situation really doesn't come into play for me though, because you know that wasn't in his weight division. You know, it was something he went up and did, and he didn't really get that. You know, it's not like he got completely just obliterated in that fight or something. Like, you know, he wasn't destroyed in that fight.
He got schooled pretty bad, but he didn't get beat up.
He wasn't destroyed. Like, it wasn't like something that he had to take a lot of time to heal from. And,
no, I agree.
You know, need this, you know, recovery time or something. So
one-sided, but yeah.
That. But I will go with, you know, you did have an injury, you recovered from that, and you want to go home. You want to give the fans there a fight, but I think that they were looking for more like what Lucas was talking about, where the energy and the atmosphere and the competitiveness, all of it's there for like a huge fight back home. They weren't looking for one of your fluff fights, Canelo.
Right. And let's face it, like I said, it makes more sense to go to the UK because at least Ryder's going to have the fans there. In Mexico, the fans are going to whoop his ass. Canelo's mama's going to whoop his ass. His whole family going to whoop his ass. And then Canelo's going to whoop his ass. And then he goes home on that flight. At least he would have the fans on his side in the UK. Now everybody's just going to give him an ass whooping. Poor Ryder. Let's say a prayer.
Oh my God, he'll be all right. I'm sure he knows how to, you know, dodge a punch or two. But I feel like this whole situation could have been totally avoided. Okay, they should have just let him have that Triple G trilogy fight in Mexico when he first wanted it. Like, they caused this entire situation to happen because that was a fight where we all knew that he had done aged out Triple G and that he was going to win the fight. So he could have just had that big name star, you know, boxing, what do you call it? Antagonist. Yeah, like he could have had that guy there go and fight in Mexico with him for a homecoming.
Yeah, I think Ryder's really got a big bonus for Parker breaking his hand. You know, I mean, you didn't beat him, right? But I think according to the ratings, he got that as a win, right? You didn't win. Parker broke his hand. You didn't win. He had to pull out of the fight. So, I mean, that's different. You got way too much bonus off of that. You know, he's walking around like a shit don't stink. Ryder, come on, man. Come on. You lost unanimous decision to Caleb Smith. Again, who Sakura already said. Canelo's already beat him up. So, we don't want to see it. And we definitely don't want to do pay-per-view. And I'm sure to hell that this is going to be a DAZN pay-per-view who promised to do away with pay-per-view altogether. But CJ Hooker, Canelo can't hold a candle to the greatest Mexican fighter of all time, Salvador Sanchez. You know, I don't think Canelo is going to live up to either Julio Cesar Chavez or Salvador Sanchez's. You know, it's hard to. You know, they're legend. He's already been booed by Mexican fans. Canelo has, so it won't be the last time either. I don't think, especially if he don't do something with Ryder. I mean, he may regret coming home.
Yeah, and also Ryder got beat by Billy Joe Saunders in 2013, guys. Man. This is before Billy Joe Saunders was even Billy Joe Saunders. Okay? I mean, but as one of those Canelo lovers guy, as he said, I mean, what's that got to do with anything? He don't think it matters. I'm like, okay.
Look, and I know I said this before, but with Canelo, it's kind of like Mayweather, right? and Pacquiao too. You cannot be neutral with them because if you are neutral, you're gonna be labeled as a hater, right? So it doesn't matter. You're either for them or you're against them. There's no between with those fan bases, and that's Canelo, Mayweather, and Pacquiao. But Pacquiao even was a little bit more give and take. Mayweather's fans and Canelo fans are a little bit more diehard, right? If you say anything bad about the Floyd or about the Canelo, there's gonna be shit to pay, and their fan bases are there waiting to chime in, right?
Oh, they just can't take it when you say anything against them. All I was saying is, I don't think this is gonna be a competitive fight.
And I don't think it is either. And that it's okay to have those every once in a while, but just fess up to that. You know what I mean? Canelo needs a step up fight. If he just wants to say, "Hey, I want to come home. I would have more respect for that." Say that. But don't try to lead me to believe that this is a competitive fight. Don't lead me to believe that I should be paying pay-per-view for this shit. Put this shit on Fox like Rob was saying. Give it to us for free. It's still watchable at that point. But if you're making me pay $80, fuck that. I don't think it's watchable. I don't want to watch it, and I'll save my money. I'll catch the knockout on a Facebook post that lasts 10 seconds. I don't need that. You know what I mean?
Last thing that should be said. This is exactly the reason why HBO tuned out of the sport of boxing.
Exactly.
This is exactly the reason why.
People want paid high dollar for fights that are not competitive, and it ruined them. I mean, they were putting money into those type of fights towards the end, and they were fighting with these fighters and these management teams saying, we're not going to accept that as one of yours on your contract. You need to give us somebody better. And then they would come with some more bullshit and more bullshit names. And, they would wait HBO out, basically. So, I mean, it happened, and it's happening now. You can see it, right? Showtime has actually made a little bit of a comeback. I mean, there was a huge dead period, right? But in this last few weeks, it seems to have picked up for Showtime. So I'm very happy about that. Hopefully they can continue that. Let's see what Ralphie has to say here. Remember Eric Morales versus Junior Jones was crazy. Chairs, beer bottles, and everything was flying after the big win versus Morales. Fans wild out there. So yeah, Canelo better look good. LOL. I mean, he may regret coming home, Ralphie. He may regret it.
That's funny. That's a good example though.
All right.
I like the thought of Canelo going home to his original fans and his hometown base. I like the idea of that. Like, I just think that they missed the whole point as of not making it like a huge deal.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I mean, when's the last time he fought in Mexico?
Could have been way more money made. Oh, I mean, most of his career, I mean, since the first 16 or 17 fights, probably. You know how it is when you have a prospect, then you come to the U.S.
Yeah, I think it was 34 when he had like 30 or 24 maybe.
I just checked. It's been over a decade. It's been over a decade since Canelo goes home. Now, if you want to fight, and this is me talking directly to Canelo, right? If you want to fight Ryder, that's fine. I understand you just fought Golovkin. People wanted that. So you want to step up fighter. You want just a fight to just stay busy. That's your prerogative, right? But you can make that anywhere. Like Rob said, make that in the UK. You actually would gain more fan base. Bring your own people after a decade, a more decent fight than this bullshit. That's all I'm saying.
They're gonna say that you a Canelo hater.
Yeah, well, of course. I'm always labeled that. Look, I actually like Canelo, and I think he does have a big potential, but I'm tired of seeing the constant shit he does. I called Tank out on the same shit. I called Mayweather on the same shit, but they all do the same shit, right? They all take advantage of certain things and take advantage of being the A side. And
oh my God, you just said the same thing that I was saying about Canelo. It's like, it's not that I hate Canelo. It's just that it's so damn frustrating when you don't fight people that you can easily beat.
Right. We wanted to see Bivol because we knew Bivol and stylistically, right? I mean, Canelo doesn't have a lot of issues, But
Right.
you can look at Bivol fight and be like, that style was going to be bad. I know me and Sakura said it. Rob, I honestly can't remember. Did you have Canelo in that one?
No, I said Bivol would win.
Okay, we saw that style clash and we were like, I don't know. I think he's
Canelo was still gonna pull it out, even though I thought that Bivol was gonna be problems. But I mean, I thought he was just gonna demolish him. I thought he was just gonna be the bigger dude in there, and like, you know, not taller but bigger as far as, you know, how much power he has, and he's explosive. So I just knew that was gonna be the case in that one. But I can't help but think that why you couldn't have an Andrade, why you couldn't do. I mean, obviously you can't do a Benavidez or a you can't do a Benavidez or a Plant right now. Plant, you already fought him, and then Benavidez, well, he got tired of waiting for you to say you would fight him. So him and Caleb Plant are now, you know, having a big fight, which that's also going to be a good one too.
Definitely check in next week for that one. I'm super excited for that fight. I don't say a lot, but I'll actually pay pay-per-view, and they have a shit undercard from what I've heard. Who is fighting? Did anybody even know a fight that's on that undercard? I ain't heard nothing.
Dang.
They already have those fight cards already planned, but it's mostly the lower tier PBC fighters.
Yeah, let me see, because I can't remember any fight. I mean, that's one I'm wanting to pay-per-view for, because I definitely don't want to mess up anything to do with that fight. I want to be able to watch
you
that one.
Want to pay pay-per-view?
I do, but man, yeah, I mean, it's nothing really to, you know, write home about.
I can't believe it.
But
I was gonna say, with that Showtime schedule, it seems like I was hoping, like, when we started seeing them back-to-back matchups that were more even, more competitive. Okay. Right. I was thinking, like, this is gonna be the year of the great matchups. Yes. After last year of all that suffering we had to do, guys. Okay, not from the women, but from the men folks. Like, I was like, this gotta be the year. And then we got Canelo versus Ryder. Now, you know, that's like, come on now. Nah. But also, the one that I'm like thinking people are sleeping on is that Cool Boy Steph versus Inoue, the monster. Oh my God.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, Showtime stepped it up, and I appreciate that, because there for a while I thought Showtime was headed out too, headed straight with HBO, because they weren't doing anything. I mean, and the fights that they were getting was just like, nobody wants to watch that. So they have stepped it up. I'm actually excited that maybe boxing's not going as far down as what I thought it was, but let's see if it all happens first before we get too excited. All right, let's change the topic here. Let's talk about this weekend's fight: Gilberto Ramirez versus Gabriel Rosado. Sakura, this is a good fight, but Gilberto Ramirez is coming off of a win, or off of a bad loss. Do you think he can snap back against Rosado?
Well, once again, shout out to Bivol, right? He just dishing out these losses. I mean, I actually feel like this is a good fight for him to have coming back off that loss. And it's going to really show us if he's really on the level that people think he is. Because that Bivol was making him look so bad. You know, like, he definitely needs to recover from that. But Gabriel is not going to be no walk in the park for him either. Like, he's going to be really there to give it to him too. So he's somebody that can pull out a win at any given time. He's one of those type of Philly boxers that's, you know, rugged and durable. And then they also, you know, they got a little grime to them. You know what I'm saying? It's a little sneakiness that they bring to the ring. So I don't know about this fight with Ramirez. I mean, he could be showing up again if his confidence isn't right. You know, this is the kind of fight that I think is good to when you come off a loss with Bivol. This is a good litmus test, and it's a good way to get your mojo back. So this I'm not too mad about.
mean, I'm not super excited about it. I agree with you partially in the fact that, it's not bad because he did just take that hard hard L, hard L from Baval. And it is something that you wouldn't want to go to more of a Gabe Rosado, but at the same time, it doesn't say that he's back in the fighter seat. This is to get him back into a competitive match because Rosado, I mean, even though he has his losses, but he's usually at least competitive with almost everybody. I mean, he hung in there with the likes of even Golovkin. Yeah, he took a beating, but he's able to hang in there. You know what I mean? And I think that's needed right now against Ramirez for what Ramirez is in for. But the problem for me is, again, it doesn't say anything, right? I mean, what does he have? 3 losses in a row? Let's see. Yeah, so he lost to Ali Akhmedov, Shane Mosley Jr., and Mungiao.
Oh, and Mungiao.
Yeah, so,
but this is like in the same category. Like those boxers, they are like in the same, pool that I would consider Ramirez in. So this is going to be a good litmus to see, like, hey, are you as good as one of these 3 boxers at least? Because, after the way he lost in that Baval fight, we're like, damn, he go all the way back down to the bottom. But like this is a fight that should be able to gain him some confidence if he looks well, and also show us whether he can get someone out of there as soon as one of those other boxers you mentioned did, or as good as one of those other boxers did.
Ralphie says Gilberto Ramirez versus Badu Jack might be future. I know Ramirez was following him at one point until Badu Jack went up, and he's back on the same division with him. Yeah, I mean, I would like to see that fight. Badu Jack, and I think I've said this consecutively since I started watching Badu Jack. He is the most improved fighter I think I've seen. I don't know if you guys can think of one over this last decade of fighters, this last generation, right? Has anybody been better improved than Badu Jack, especially since his last loss?
The problem is you don't get to see him that often because he's fighting on Jake Paul cards and these other cards and this and that shit. He's fighting on these cards that ain't helping him out.
Well, I really don't know about that state. I think the thing with Badu is like he's been robbed a few times. Like, I don't know what it is about the judges, but they just don't see what some of us fans see in Badu. And I don't think that he gets the decision in some of these fights. Like John Pascal, that should have been an easy win for Badu, but then Badu got caught by that overhand right that he loves to throw. But then later on, we realized in the very next fight that Pascal got popped for pads. So was he on pads during that fight? So there's things that start coming up. The Stevenson fight, thought that was a win for Badu Jack. Ended up not being. Then it was the Gal fight. I mean, that was another one where it was pretty close to me. I just feel like for some reason he was one of those boxers that didn't clearly show that he decisively won some fights. Because of his style. But this time when we saw him, I saw that fight in which he won that the title. That's the WBC title, I believe. I mean, that fight was getting tits. That was it was a pretty good fight up until a certain point when Badu just totally showed that he had that extra will and that extra determination that his opponent didn't have, which was the former champion.
Yeah, Badu Jack, I mean, yeah, he just has that kind of style. I don't think that's really judge friendly. Of course, you got the losses to Pascal and Brown. That's not what I was talking about. I was talking about the loss that he got knocked out by Derek Edwards back in 2014. Since then, I think he's massively improved, and I don't even know if I could say any of those are direct losses, just like Sakura was saying. I mean, those are all pretty close fights, all very debatable.
Yeah. I mean, I remember that knockout. I mean, it was pretty...
it was bad, right? I mean, he was face down.
It was an underdog. Like, he was fighting somebody he should have been able to get through. But
yeah.
It could have just been something like, one of them times where you just don't see a punch, and he got caught. That happens. So, I don't know. I have to think about that one because I got to think about some more boxers in the last decade that have really come a way farther than we thought they would.
For sure. I mean, I think a lot of people wrote him off after that knockout loss, and he
Yeah.
proved that he's still here. He's still a champ. That's
Also,
all.
they training team at that point too. He started training with Lou Duval after that loss too. They kind of changed up the camp. So that also, when you got somebody like Duval able to help you out a lot, it showed. It really showed the difference in training.
For sure. Now I wasn't going to do predictions because I assumed we were all picking Ramirez. At any point, though, do you guys speak forward now if you think Rosado is going to win? No. Moving on, then I'm going to go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I think he was brought in to help give him some confidence and to give him that work that he really does still need, but not enough to like really win the fight. But we'll see. Because like I said, you can't never count out no Rosado.
We can't. And, maybe we thought Gilberto was a little bit better than maybe he actually was. So,
right.
You never know.
That's what I was thinking.
We have the same wavelength of laugh. Let's go ahead. But Rob, go ahead and take over with the rapid fire.
Y'all, it is that fun time of the year again where Rob comes up with something crazy.
Oh, God.
So I got a good rapid fire for you fans. Tune in, let us know what you think. But guys, it's March Madness time. Yes. So in honor of March Madness, I decided to pick one of the hottest topics or divisions in boxing right now. And I came up with my own ranking system and my own mini tournament. So guys, we're going to go through this rapid fire in this bracket mini tournament here, picking on the 130 and 135 division. Okay?
130 and 135. Should I be
130 to 135. Don't worry, I have taken the liberty of seating the fighters myself. If you don't agree, that's your problem. This is my segment.
I mean, I'm just surprised you including 130.
So
that's a point. He just completely ignored that. He just said,
I said at 130 they count. As long as they started, that's where we started at 130. And I think there's a lot of talented guys in that division right now that could fight at 135. So I decided to match those two divisions together. So we're going to do it rapid fire style, where y'all let me know who moves on, who doesn't. So we're going to start in with a fight in tournament. So these two matchups right here are the lower seeds, and they have to fight each other to face the higher seeds.
I see what you're doing. I kind of like this. I see what you're doing. So it's going to be like rapid fire where you got to ask us who's going to win, and then you're going to make the bracket as we go.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, you got it. Exactly.
Kind of like, huh?
It's good because with three of us, right? We're not going to have.
And majority wins. Majority wins, and if we cannot, majority wins. That's how it is.
Yeah.
All right, guys. So for my first fight, and let me get to the names before you pick, and then I'll tell you who they're seated to fight after this. Okay. So the first fight you have Oscar Valdez versus Isaac Cruz. The winner of this is seated to fight Devin Haney.
Oh man!
So let's start. Isaac Cruz, Oscar Valdez. Who y'all got, fans? Lucas.
That's rough. I'm gonna go with Valdez. I mean, it's hard for me to pick Valdez, but I do think he'd be able to outbox him. Try to stay away from him. I love Isaac Cruz, but he can kind of get one dimensional. You know where he's coming. He's coming straight forward. So I think Valdez will be able to take advantage of that and pull off the win.
Shakur?
Yeah, Valdez. Even though you still kind of messed it up by telling me who the next, tier was.
Yeah, a little bit.
Okay, I won't do that next time.
Fight next. Don't tell us who they gonna fight next.
Yeah,
Got you. Okay,
that needs to
got
be.
you.
That needs
Yeah.
to be.
So you got Valdez.
Ralphie says Cruz.
Okay.
Ralphie, we are in disagreement on this panel. We all three have Valdez.
Trust me, Ralphie.
just think-
It was hard. It was hard for me to go with Valdez. I do like Cruz a lot, and I think he has a chance. But
I think, yeah, I like Cruz a lot too. I think Valdez is a sharper boxer, and that's why I went with him. I mean, he only lost to Shakur Stevenson. We all know Stevenson is the big dog in the division, so that's why I went with him. Okay, so our next fight, we're going with Ryan Garcia versus Leo Santa Cruz.
even though I love Leo, I don't know. I got to go with Ryan Garcia at this point.
Damn,
Okay.
no.
Quick reason? No reason?
Nope. I'm not even gonna say it. I don't think Leo will ever quite be the same anymore. I mean that loss against Tank, that knockout. I don't know if Leo will ever get back to there. Ralphie says Ryan with his youth. So that's my thinking. I don't know.
I mean, 3 years ago, I'd go with Leo. Now, I'd go with Ryan.
Yeah, that's kind of how it is.
Right, we all agree. Ryan wins the fight in fight. Okay, so now
I would love to see that fight, though.
Actually, that is a really good actual fight.
Yeah, I would love to see that.
I mean,
thank y'all. You know, I think, hey, at the end of this, you might not like my matchmaking skills. Okay.
Yeah, we'll wait until the end. I might
not,
be like, man,
but we'll wait till the end.
If they could be at the same weight,
So we're gonna start with our official first round in this little tournament. Okay, since those were the fighting fights, they had to fight in to win. So our first fighting fight, we're gonna go with the number 1 seed, like I said, Devin Haney, taking on Oscar Valdez.
Wait, say that again.
Devin Haney versus Oscar Valdez.
Oh, right. Okay, we back to that. Yeah.
Lucas?
Yeah.
I mean, what? Wait, what are we talking about?
This is either at 130 or 135.
I mean, it matters,
either
though, right?
Haney versus Oscar. You know what? Oscar. I'm gonna go with Oscar Valdez because of the power element.
Wild card in it?
Oscar may have lost to Stevenson, but Stevenson is not Haney. That's the difference.
Yes.
So Shakur, is that a final answer for you?
Were you hoping that I would say? Yeah, that's a final for me. I'm gonna go out here and say Oscar over Haney.
Lucas?
This one's really hard for me. I'm being dead honest. I'm stuck with the Shakur Stevenson fight. I think still fresh in my head.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I guess I
performed so badly against Shakur.
He did that. It leaves a bad taste in your mouth.
Then you think go back and fight before that.
Haney.
You changing your mind, Shakur? You changing your mind?
No, I'm still because I said the fight before that he beat Rochelle and completely knocked them out cold.
And Haney hasn't really,
his chin hasn't really been tested. That's what Haney.
His wins aren't like super, dominant for the most part. He's had some good wins, but who's he really fought here? We're talking. He got rocked against Linares, right? I mean, the Cambosis fights were blah.
Can I step in here for a minute, Lucas? I
You're gonna
think
help
you
me?
are.
You gonna help
I
me?
think you're overthinking it, brother.
I'm leaning.
I
I'm
think you're
leaning towards
overthinking it.
Valdez, but it's hard. It really is. It's 50-50 for me, man.
Don't forget the Gamboa fight. That was
Give me a name.
I got to go Valdez. I don't have. Like, honestly, I just don't have faith in Haney's record so far. It's kind of like when Golovkin first came on the scene and everybody was super high on him. I wasn't always picking him. I was like, I don't know. I mean, I gotta be proof in the pudding, and he didn't have all that pudding yet. He still got all that.
I'm with Ralphie.
Personally, I think he is going to be a way better fighter when he gets to 140.
I think Valdez already proved more, but yes, I agree.
I'm with Ralphie. I would go with Haney, but like we love in March Madness, there's always an underdog that we root for that can win.
Absolutely.
So we'll go with Valdez as the winner in that one. All right. Next one.
Did we mess up your matchups?
No. This is what March Madness is all about.
Oh, okay.
All right. So the next fight, then we go to the other. Well, I'll just go down the line. So the next fight in this bracket, we have Lomachenko versus George Kambosos.
I got Lomachenko.
Yeah, that's Loma all day.
Haney showed the movement is going to cause Kambosos all kinds of problems, and I think Lomachenko can do it just as good as Haney, if not better. So I'm rolling with Loma.
Yeah, me too. Loma for sure. One body punch.
It could be a knockout body punch. Yeah, that's a good call.
Yeah.
So we're gonna go to the other side of the bracket that I have now. On this side, I have is the big number one, Shakur Stevenson, and he's taking on the fight-in winner, Ryan Garcia. Shakur Stevenson versus Ryan Garcia.
I think we would definitely have some more information on that after the Tank fight. However,
now this will be at 135. You're not going up to 140. This will be at 135.
That's hard for me to imagine because I honestly don't think he's going to fight at 135 anymore. But even if he did and he was able to make 135 without issues, I'm going with Shakur Stevenson. He makes less mistakes. Ryan Garcia is still pulling out with his chin up sometimes, and just making some rookie stuff still there to close in. I could see Stevenson beating him up and timing him. I really don't see Ryan getting out of that, but Ralphie disagrees. Ralphie's got Ryan.
Shakur?
I gotta go with Shakur on this one. Sorry, Ralphie. I have to go with Shakur, and the reason is, I mean, that he's developed so much more at 130 now he's at 135. More power, more explosiveness. Still got that killer instinct, and then on top of it, he's seen so far to have a decent chin.
Okay, Ralphie, I see a theme here. I was also going Ryan Garcia, but Shakur Stevenson gets the nod. He was my number one seed on this side.
But why? I had to give a reason. Why, bro? Why did you go with Ryan? Just speed off of
power, speed and power, speed and power. I think that frustrates Stevenson, who is a guy who can get frustrated when he doesn't have his way in the ring at times, and I think he'd be frustrated.
Okay. Well, that's definitely a fight that I hope we get to see. Maybe it probably be at 140 if we do get to see it.
Yeah.
All right. So I think this next one would be unanimous on this next one. But I had to throw this guy in here because I think he could be a force if he gets more experience in this type of division. But I do have Gervonta Tank Davis versus my wild card in this, Navarrete.
Okay, repeat that. Navarrete versus.
Tank.
I got Tank
Oh,
by
that's
knockout. I mean,
that's Tank. That's Tank. Cause he gonna be right there, and Navarrete in his last fight got dropped, and he was buzzed often.
Ralphie agrees with us. It don't matter what you
Yeah,
say now, Rob.
I think no, I think that
We won.
Tank is in there. Navarrete was my wild card in this. The other honorable mention that I really wanted to put in here, I just didn't think he has the name yet, but I wanted to go William Zapata
Okay.
versus Tank, but I don't think he has a name. So that's our matchups there. So now we move on to the next round. So we have Oscar Valdez with the upset of the year versus Lomachenko.
I don't know if we'd want to call it upset of the year, but maybe. I like the fight, but I still got to go Loma. I can see Loma turning Valdez too, and treating him somewhat like Shakur did.
Similar like Secure. That's what I
Yeah,
was thinking. That's Secure all over again.
the
Loma.
style between those two are very similar. I can see that. Yeah,
Yeah. Loma.
So we all like Lomachenko.
What did Ralphie say?
Robbie ain't coming on that one.
Oh, okay. Just curious.
Ralphie, man, because y'all didn't pick Devin Haney, damn it.
You didn't pick him.
All right. So now we have, y'all would really, Oscar if he fights like Salido. Ah, good point, Ralphie. Good point.
Yeah, that's a little joke. Whatever.
All right, y'all. This one is going to be hard for y'all. Because now we have Shakur Stevenson versus Gervonta Tank Davis.
That is the fight that we really want to see, isn't it?
You call me
And
crazy.
this ain't even the final.
You call me
That's a
crazy.
fight that we, in reality, we really would like to see that type of a matchup.
I think Stevenson can do it. I think Stevenson can pull him off. Looks like CJ Hooker agrees. I don't know. I see Stevenson being the matador in this one. I think he's able to keep him on the outside to box his head off. Ralphie's going with Tank, so I don't know. I got Stevenson.
Are we going to be split here, Shakur? Are we going to have to go to me, Shakur?
Oh, okay. Yeah, we might have to, because I'm thinking that Shakur's a little untested when it comes to that chin.
I agree.
So I think if Tank can set you up with a good punch, and you can keep hitting on him, and he's got like a goat-like chin. We all know this. So, I mean, he just needs only a chance. Like if he lands even one big one, it's over. I feel. I'm going with Tank.
Oh, CJ Hooker thinks it's not hard for him. Shakur made valid points. Ralphie was going with Shakur Stevenson.
What, Ralphie?
Look, okay. Lucas is going with Shakur Stevenson.
No, Ralphie's going with Tank.
He's going with
Tank. Or Tank. I mean, CJ. I'm sorry, I mixed y'all up. So CJ is going with Shakur. Yeah. Ralphie is going with Tank. Shakur is going with Tank. Lucas is going with Shakur. Who do y'all think I'm gonna go with, man?
Of course, you're gonna go with Tank.
Y'all ready for this? Y'all ready for this? Shakur Stevenson.
You full of bullshit. You wasn't going.
Shakur Stevenson.
Not the way you.
Now, do you know why? Yeah, do you know why? Because I think
we didn't think you were going to pick him.
Right. Exactly.
No, you didn't let me finish. Because Shakur Stevenson, to me, is the masterclass boxer out there over everybody right now, over all of them. Besides Spence and Crawford, I think Shakur Stevenson has the same talent and the same wavelength as those guys. He's just a masterful class boxer. And I don't think Tank would be so frustrated with the skill set and everything that Shakur brings to him, he's not going to be able to land the punch to hurt him. He's not going to be able to land a punch to knock him out. He's pretty much going to get schooled.
I can see him getting outboxed, but I think this fight is, if it does happen, is all about timing. How far along? Because I believe Stevenson is ceiling is higher than Tank's ceiling, right? As far as boxing ability goes, right. Stevenson's ceiling is higher, but is he there yet? That is the problem right now.
So are you trying to change your pick, Lucas? Because you went with Shakur.
I do, and I'm still going with Shakur. But what I'm saying is right now, if the fight were to happen today, I don't know.
I gotta stick with Tank. I don't think that people that's purist boxing, they still cannot be perfect. The entire 12 rounds. I just don't think it's possible. I think that's why Wilder always looks good in fights. Even when if he loses, he still done knocked you down and made you see God. Like you still can't be perfect 12 rounds. And Shakur's chin has not been tested on that level before. That's true. You feel that kind of heat.
He's the best defensive fighter in the game. Hands down.
He is, but I just still don't think he can be perfect. I don't think he can be totally perfect for 12 rounds. And Tank knows how to set people up. Like that's what he's great at. And it's not like Wilder. It's like a different type of set you up than Wilder does. This is like a really like foot movement, wait for you to, countering punches that are ferocious. Like I just don't see it right now. Maybe I'm wrong.
It's really funny to me because indirectly we are finding out our picks for Tank versus Ryan Garcia. That's what it is.
Right? I know.
We're already figuring that out. We had Ryan Garcia out a minute ago. We're still talking about Tank.
We're still talking about Tank. Right.
But listen. To use what you're saying, Shakura.
I gotta agree with Hooker.
Yeah. It's like a major test or a final, right? You can't win all 12 rounds, and it's impossible to be perfect. But if we were handing out grades that night, I think Shakur would get an A- and Tank would get a B+. Okay, so
there's always that possibility that Shakur could catch Tank with something because he really ain't had no test as far as power against his chin. Like not the type of power that he has. He hasn't been tested with somebody with power.
I mean, look at how Tank did Gamboa. I mean, he fought Gamboa on one leg and couldn't get Gamboa. So I mean, it's hard to say. He
couldn't get Cruz out because he really does have amazing chin.
Yeah, I don't know, man.
So this was supposed to be rapid fire, so we got to move to the final because I'm hungry.
I'm hungry too. I want to say that I'm hungry too, but also I do think it was a missed opportunity that you didn't include Coop or Steph or the Monster.
They're not at 130 yet.
Yeah. That's what I said. We know why you didn't.
We can do
so that leads us to the final, y'all. Before I go to the finals, is anybody on this panel changing your pick?
Nope.
No.
I think we're good.
So the final we have Lomachenko versus Shakur Stevenson, which I would say is a very masterful matchup.
I think that speaks upon we chose correctly, right? Because you come down to two masterclass boxers.
Mm-hmm.
I think Loma has already hit his wall and surpassed it. I think if anything else, he's actually on his way down. And if Shakur is actually coming off of those wins that we just said, he's beating Lomachenko, right? Because he already beat Tank, right? If that's how this is actually going. And he already came out of this tournament. He already just came off this Tank win too. He's wiping Lomachenko.
Yeah, and he beat Devin Haney early. I mean, Devin Haney wasn't in the running, even though Devin Haney versus Loma is the fight that we're going to get to see next.
CJ kind of said what I said. Yeah, for the most part, we agree.
Yeah, no problem. I really still Loma versus Shakur. Like, if we're with the Loma of today and not the run through Loma, I gotta go with Loma still, guys. But if it's like how you guys are explaining it, where like Shakur is getting better and better with each fight and each moment, and the momentum is swinging his way, and then Loma, who's had so many, so many other fights and 300 amateur fights and all this kind of stuff going on, then, technically he would be getting even like, a decline. So if it's that type of situation, then I would have to go with Shakur. So y'all have made it difficult for me to decide.
Rob,
we're waiting.
I mean, I said both. Can I get away with that?
No, there has to be one, or it will. Okay, you can.
Rob,
so if you think
maybe
it's
if
a
you
draw,
say yours, then her vote won't even matter, right?
yeah.
Right.
So let's go to
So
Rob.
we'll go with that.
If
Okay.
there's a tie, then we'll have to rely on our fans.
Yeah, let's go to Rob.
So what I'm going with a different mindset and a different perspective, and here's why.
Okay.
On a stage, especially like this, Lucas is right in this direction. Shakur would be him on top of the world. Him beating him beating Ryan Garcia. Him beating Tank, right? This means Shakur Stevenson in everybody else's eyes is definitely at this point right there with Spence, with Crawford, maybe even surpassing them. He might even be right now the number one pound for pound fighter if he rails off those 2 wins, right? But Lomachenko would make this the biggest and greatest fight of his entire career because they already said he was the man. They already said he proved a lot that he could, but he really hasn't because he hasn't won at this big of a level, this big of a matchup yet. I think this cements his career, his legacy. I'm going with Lomachenko.
I can't believe you,
man.
Loma. This is so surprising.
Okay, so you have to pick now, Sakura, because the 2 commentators, we got CJ and Ralphie filling in, right? And he says Loma, and he says Shakur. So you coming down to the nitty gritty. You have to decide who's going to win this. You got to.
Oh God, y'all. Jeez, typical men. Damn. Well, okay, so now I'm gonna go with experience. Right now, Loma has more experience than Stevenson. And got a little bit more tricks. So we still got to go with the age factor. That's another big thing. It's just the age of these 2 boxers. That's definitely young versus old.
Piss off CJ Hooker, please, just for me. Piss CJ off.
Hey,
why you
just for me.
Choose, fam. What do you say? Choose. Damn, you can't wait till I get it out. It's in that type of anticipation. I feel like the reality star. Like, you know how they like get you thinking and then they like, then we'll just go to the commercial. We still ain't thought about who is going to do. When it comes down to it, at 135-ish, we're talking about 135. I'm gonna say Loma didn't look that hot when he did have the big stage against Tszyu. And then for that reason, plus the age, I will say Shakur for the win.
I'm dead.
Yeah.
There you have it.
There we go.
I went
There
with
you have it.
I went with age over, the experience.
Our March Madness 130, 135 boxing champion is Shakur Stevenson.
But it's not March Madness, it's March matchups.
I like that.
Hey, I like that.
This
Yeah.
was
Stay tuned with us till next year when we have another one of these.
you need to have some more rapid fire hitting like this, okay? Because rapid fire where you were like Thanksgiving dinner, who's the gravy? You had
remember that. No, next
was
week we can do the same March matchups, but this time 2 different weight divisions.
That's true. We can do
We
different.
can do that.
Yeah. All right. Let's see. Ravi says 122 and 120 shit should be.
They don't count, Ralphie.
Yeah.
They count,
We gotta
Ralphie.
talk to
They
Rob,
count.
but it.
They don't count.
Versus Inuit. Who you got? That's all you need to know.
Thank you all for tuning in, especially Ralphie and CJ for sending in all your comments and actually participating. We appreciate it. Thank you all for tuning in again at Heavy Bag Boxing on all of our social media. This happens Tough Talk every Tuesday, 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific. Thank y'all, and good fight, good night.